We're in Holyoke, Massachusetts on Main Street, and we're outside the Merrick Mill number 1. And this is an incredibly important mill in the history of Holyoke. Timothy Merrick was down in Mansfield Hollow, Connecticut during the 1840s and 50s. In 1864, he decided, let's go up to Holyoke, Massachusetts, where they have that incredible canal. And he did. In 1865, he started the work on building this giant mill and getting all the equipment in here that he would need. And by 1867, they started their first production line. And this is a mill that is incredible. The race or tunnel that carries the water below the mill number 1 is extremely large, and they have the largest raceway in Holyoke. And it's still visible. It was always an exposed raceway. And the combination of raceway to canal is the most sophisticated in all of Holyoke. Now, this was mill number 1, and they would have, by the end, 4 mills going. So mill number 2 and 3 are not here. They're back at the Heritage, across the canal from Holyoke Heritage State Park. Mill number 2 was taken down. Mill number 3 is still there and still visible, and it's quite a nice looking mill to it. Now, mill number 2 was built in 1882, and mill number 3 was built in 1887, and they were almost twins of each other. But there is a mill number 4 here that's more administration than anything else, and that's across Main Street from mill number 1. So you have Merrick 1 and 4 down here, and Merrick 3 still up by the Heritage State Park. Now this one here, number 4, is called the Merrick Finishing Mill. It's recently been changed over into a very peculiar use. It's called the Bostine Building nowadays, and Demented FX is in there. It's a haunted house, and it's one of the most successful ventures in Holyoke. You can come here and almost from the beginning of October to the end of October and see this haunted house. They say it's the best in New England for what it does. Probably true. I've only seen short videos of what they do. It's expensive by most standards, but it's quite worth it. Now, going back to the Merrick himself, he was a thread maker, mostly out of cotton, and he was extremely successful. And so his mill number 1 got things going heavily, and he found out right away he's so successful at what he did, and the Holyoke Canal was so good that he didn't have enough wooden spools to put his thread onto. And so what he did, we bought up a whole forest in Maine. There's in north central Maine on a lake called Lake Skundik, and there the whole forest, and it was near the railroad line, and so he'd have the cut trees put onto the railroads, and they'd bring it down to Holyoke. And here he bought a lumber yard of his own, and he got that going. And he could make spools, small, medium, or large. And he could sell them on his own, or he could use some in his factory, or he could sell them off to other companies, right? There's still such a thing as the Merrick thread, and you can buy these on various collectible sites. And he was the best thread maker in the whole world. To tune that, at peak, his company would make 1 million miles of thread per year. You have to remember what that means. There's 5,000 feet approximately in a mile, and when you buy one of those little spools, you might get about 30 feet on it. And imagine how many spools he needed to make in a year, right? He not only made it for his own company, he made it for other companies too. All right, and not only did they make cotton thread, they also made twine and warp and yarn and other kinds of more sophisticated things for more sophisticated products. They would import a lot of their cotton, not only from the South, but also from England, and they would get specialized material from Egypt to sell, and they would get other kinds of specialized cotton from different states. And He grew and grew, and he was an incredible company. Now, before he died, he told his son, never sell out to the American Thread Company, a competitor that was also in Holyoke. They were the number 2 biggest thread company in the world. And what did he do? His son, within months, sold out to the American Thread Company. And so that was the end of the Merrick itself. Now, this mill number 1, it might not be used particularly much right now, but the Merrick 4 is used greatly, not only as a haunted house, it's also art galleries, artist lofts, and other ventures inside of there. The Merrick 3 is being made over into storage. They want to make it a storage space, that field, but something will happen to it very soon. So the Merrick is still alive greatly in Holyoke, and there'll be another stop just like this that has to do with the Merrick's Raceway and its combination with the canal, because that's very sophisticated. So thank you for listening.